Hello everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you very much for joining me here today. This is your one-stop shop for cryptocurrency analysis, among other things. Now we're taking a look at SKL, which is a request from one of my Patreon contributors. So thank you so much, John, for requesting I cover this. Moving forward, I'm not a financial advisor. This is for educational purposes only. Always do your own research. I have years of trading experience, and my goal is to help you become a better, more effective trader, one day at a time. All right, so it doesn't happen overnight. You got to be patient. I promise you will learn if you continue to try your best to follow along. So my goal is to, again, make you a better trader by teaching you good entry points and helping you identify best practice. Before we get started, I have a link to my Telegram community, my Patreon account if you'd like to show your support, as well as a Discord channel. And if you'd like $25 in free Bitcoin from Voyager application, feel free to reference that as well. Now, without further ado, let's go ahead and check it out. All right, folks, let's go ahead and take a look at SKL. And before we do, if you're new to the channel, we always look at Bitcoin and Ethereum first, just to kind of get a baseline of the market and see what's going on out there. Just so we understand, what the top two coins are doing, because obviously Bitcoin has a lot to do with the success of altcoins. So we're going to look at that first. So taking a look at Bitcoin, let's go ahead and start with this. Just to preface as well, I use the Binance desktop trading application, TradingView within on the charts. Now, at this point, we're going to take a look at the 4-hour chart for Bitcoin. So first thing we do is we take a look at the moving averages, right? Because we got the 200 and the 50-day moving average. The 50-day moving average is working as a support level, okay? Now this candlestick hasn't closed yet, so currently it still is working as a support. I'll zoom in there for you. You can see it's trying to break below, but if all goes well, the price stays above the 50-day moving average and eventually continues on its upward trend, right? The trend is our friend. We want to hopefully have that happen here, but great news is we've got higher highs so far and higher lows. That does imply that we are on a reversal, and it's a pretty good sign so far. All right, so trying to get worried about this recent candle here. I think we're going to be just fine moving forward. We'll see what happens. Up here on the 200, really far away, not much to really note there. We don't need to worry about that, but that is hovering right around 50,000, which I do think is our next major milestone. If we can get to 50,000 with Bitcoin, it is going to be altcoin season. I mean, it probably already is in a strange way. There's just so much indecision right now, it's hard to say, but I do feel like we're trending towards that, and I think that altcoins will be blowing off their tops when we get closer to 50, okay? First major milestone, though, is roughly 42,000. That's the next thing we want to hit, break, and stay above. All right, so Ethereum, take a look at Ethereum. We have a support and resistance level here. I marked this earlier in my previous review, and when it comes to this resistance level, it's right at about 2,900, okay? And that's been tested about 8 times so far. So if we see Ethereum break out, it will break out above this, likely very strong. In most cases, breakouts are pretty strong, and it'll continue to go upwards from there. But we can see the same thing here. We got a 50-day moving average that is working as a support level, and that's a good sign. Another thing to note is the 200-day moving average at 3,100 is currently a major potential resistance level, and it was already tested 2 to 3 times previously at that time, or that same price rather. Okay, so just something to be mindful of. Now let's go ahead and take a look at SKL. And this one's interesting. I believe its ICO was November 30th, December 1st, right in that range. And it opened up at a, what was the open price there? Well, we've got 3 cents. It's not bad. Compared to where it's at now, that would have been a nice value. Needless to say, it would consolidate for a while, and as you can see, it came up, sold off, and then ramped up really strong right around, what is it, March? Yeah, so in March, it took off. We got a total increase in March of approximately 250% in 4 days. It's no wonder why it retraced and came back down. It had 1 day of consolidation and 3 super strong green days, and that can be problematic for coins because they have to, what comes up must come down, right? It's just one of those scenarios where it got too heavy and it had to fall down. Normally they retrace themselves about 50% of the way, which we could see here, and that did occur. It also ramped back up, came back down. So honestly, the movement from SKL is unique. It has these really these sharp increases followed by periods of consolidation that are kind of downward and out. So let's see how Bitcoin impacted that. In other words, when Bitcoin sold off, what was the first sell-off date? I think it was it the 17th? Let's take a look here. Yeah, it was the 17th. Okay, so I was right. So the 17th here, let's take a look here. This is the 17th, so this is Bitcoin's first major sell-off. So as you can see, it was making this interesting pattern, up, down, consolidate downwards, up, consolidate down and up. It tried to push itself up here for the third time, likely to test its previous resistance, and it came crashing down, of course, because of Bitcoin. And it wasn't a terrible fall off, right? That sell-off actually was smaller if you compare it with how much it impacted other coins, and it tried to recover, and then it consolidated, but the 50-day moving average held it down. Then we look on, what is it, the 12th? This is the Elon candle here, and then of course the biggest one, the China candle on the 18th. So it's no surprise why the price came ramping back up here, because it's been held down for too long. I'm venturing to guess the RSI, was super close to 30. So it was extremely oversold, and now it is trending back upwards. But interestingly enough, it's testing the 50-day moving average and getting rejected right now. So this is a major resistance level for the moment at about, what, 56 cents? So just be mindful of that. If it breaks above and stays above for, just say, a full day or a few candles, we'll look at the 4-hour chart too, but if it breaks above and holds above for that full entire candlestick, then we're going to be in good shape to have that become a new support. That's what we want. The 50-day moving average is working its way into becoming a strong support for a lot of different coins right now, just based on the overall market trend, the way things are going, and this is a good sign for SKL. So let's look at the 4-hour chart next. Holy cow, look at that guy. It's a really sharp increase. No wonder why it's coming back down. This is pretty common for SKL, it appears. There's really sharp increases and decreases, but more importantly, the increase goes up a lot faster than it does come down, which is a good sign. So I think the average true range for something like this for SKL, it really should be in the range of about 70 cents upwards of 90 cents, because it was working itself into this channel here, this comfortable, the higher highs and higher lows channel, so to speak, where it came up, yes, came back down, but it continued to make these almost like a heartbeat. If you've seen the heartbeats on the monitors, it kind of looks like that. But it was essentially trending up, so I do think that we should see somewhere between 70 and 90 cents if Bitcoin can just continue to consolidate from 38,000 to 42,000. If Bitcoin breaks 42,000, we will see this shoot back up to about 90 cents, if not higher. So just be mindful of that. But currently on the 4-hour chart, both moving averages are working as support, which is a good sign. We'll see if the 200-day moving average gets tested soon. But what we want to see is the price action to stay above the 200-day moving average on the 4-hour chart. As you can see, the RSI is overextended, pretty standard for something like this that just came up way too fast. What we would rather see is a slight increase, consolidation for a nice bull run, but instead SKL has a tendency of just going kind of bonkers for a short amount of time and then cooling down. Tells me there's probably something larger in control. The whales are probably pushing the price up about 75%. The rest of us join in, and then they sell off and we lose. That's a very common thing in these types of coins. Either way, MACD is overextended as well, so honestly, I would recommend waiting to find entry, because it does seem it's going to retrace back down. But let's see what the 15-minute chart tells us. I do like this here. This is nice. It's better because with Bitcoin coming down a little bit, it hasn't been impacted. So there's a likelihood of the price action staying in the low 50 to upper $50 range, or 50 cent range rather. But that is kind of what we're looking at there. So why don't we go ahead and do this? Let's go ahead and disable the moving averages. I don't care to use the simple moving averages on the 15-minute chart, because I believe the EMA and the VWAP line are much more effective. And if you're new to the channel, the VWAP is essentially the volume weighted average price. It shows us what the price should be based on the volume in the last 24 hours. Extremely reliable support and resistance line. The EMA is kind of more of a momentous indicator, even though it does work as a support and resistance. It tells you when bull runs are happening. It also tells you when bear runs are happening too. So I'll explain that in a moment. But as we can see, RSI is extremely over 70. It's no wonder why it's coming back down. Price is considered to be right in the middle. But when you see this big triangle pattern here on the MACD, that's never a good sign, because it does show that the strength was way too fast. It came up really, really quick, a lot quicker than it needed to. So there's no doubt in my mind that we're going to see a further retracement. It may not be as severe as the past, but it will be it will continue downwards. And here's the reason why I think that, because if you look at the price here, first of all, when we're looking at let's start with the VWAP line, right? So the VWAP line is this blue line here. As you can see, it works as a support level. Comes up, support, support, even it's been tested and bounced off a few times. It's even testing and bouncing off here. But it looks like we are losing VWAP here, and in the last hour, the price is trending below the average price, at least the average volume price. So usually when it stays below for over 1 to 2 hours, then it will continue to be perhaps bearish and stay below, and that becomes a new resistance level. Okay. So if we remove that and we look at the EMA now, this is the exponential moving average. So instead of taking the 50-day average expressed as a price, it has a special calculation, which you can look up on your own, and it basically it moves a lot faster, it responds quicker to price movement. So the EMA is a little bit more reliable on the 1 minute chart, the shorter time frames, but the 15 gives you a pretty good understanding of the fact that it's working as a support level on the 15 pretty consistently for that bull run, and then it's consolidating, testing, and then lost. So the price traveling under the EMA tells me that we're likely going to see some type of a bear push, push downwards bearishly, that'll kind of continue down until it finds its average price. Again, hard to say specifically what that will be, but based on its previous price action, the way that it tends to ramp up and then slowly trail off, it seems to go up about 100% and then come down maybe 30, 40, 50%. So I would expect for the price to come down to roughly probably around 50 cents and then perhaps consider bouncing. So let's see if there's some kind of support levels in this area here, just really quick. We do got a potential support at 43 cents. I hope the price doesn't come down that far. I don't think it will if Bitcoin can continue to increase slowly and make higher highs and higher lows like it has been. If we can get to 42,000 with Bitcoin, we will not see this happen. But that is essentially a worst case scenario. And as far as highs, let's see, we've got, that was tested, we got 2 times. I would venture to guess that somewhere around 62 cents is a resistance, because that's been tested a few times in the past. So let's go ahead and go with that. Again, this is plus or minus a few cents here. There's not a ton of consistency, but as you can see in this range, right in the 60 to 64 cent range, it's been rejected quite a few times. Okay. So that being said, let's go ahead and just see if we can identify an entry point for you and call it a day. Now when it comes to the VWAP and EMA, okay, I've already expressed the fact that the price is moving bearishly now. We lost VWAP and it's traveling under the EMA line. So I wouldn't recommend taking entry right now until we find the bottom. Now the way to find the bottom is to use the EMA to your advantage. So if you look back here, you can see how the price is constantly going above the EMA and bouncing off of it and staying above. Yes, it lost a little bit down here, but it did recover and come back up, and then this bull run, it pretty much used the EMA line as a consistent bounce off. Okay? So if you were to take entry in a situation like this, what you do is you wait for the price to confirm, and confirmation to me is waiting 2 solid 15-minute green bars. I'll say this in pretty much all my videos because it works very well for me. And what I mean by that is just taking a look, and again, this doesn't necessarily mean it's a good entry, but if you see these 2 solid green bars, you see these 2, that's kind of what I'm referring to, right? So 2 solid green bars. Now those don't work because of the fact that they're not completely closing above the VWAP and EMA line, all right? So that's not true confirmation. So what true confirmation is right here or right here. So let's just say, for example, we got these 2 solid green bars right there. So if you can see those, they're 2 solid green bars, they're closing above the EMA and VWAP line. And the price comes up, kind of continues out and goes up again. And what you do is you look for, once you take entry, to say, for example, you took a small position here of 20, I don't know what, let's say 25%. Can you see that? Yeah, so you took a 25% position, right? Right at that point. Price comes over, bounces off the EMA, and is still above VWAP line. So what you might want to consider doing is taking another, I don't know, 15, 20% position, perhaps even 30, because you got confirmation the price bounced off the EMA line. Yeah? So it comes up, continues over, bounces off the EMA, tentatively loses it, but holds strong, and then eventually carries itself back up again. All right? So as you can see this, the EMA is working as a support. Price is still over VWAP, so we're safe. Comes up, keeps going, tests it again. But we're still over VWAP, so it's fine. As it continues up, you see this staircase, up, then consolidate and over. Lost VWAP, but still over EMA. So you see the kind of trend here. Once you get confirmation like this too, it'd be awesome to consider taking another additional position once you get this verification that it's on a bull run. You maybe add to your position here another 50%. Oh geez, that was terrible. It's hard to draw something like this. So you add another 50% here, and what you do is you wait for the price to go up over 70 on the RSI. Okay. So look at this. Double click. And look at that. Price is up over 70 on the RSI. And what you do is you wait for the price to come back down to test the RSI. If it continues upwards like it has, it stays above the EMA line, then you want to just continue to hold your position. As soon as it starts breaking below the EMA, like here with a VWAP of the EMA join, then this would be a consideration to take your exit. But if you want to be extra safe, which I typically do, I wait for the VWAP correction for the RSI, the price to come down on the RSI. So just say, for example, here, this is probably where I'd end up exiting my position. So, in this run, I went in with 20%, and I would have got somewhere in the range of a 47% return. That's quite significant. Again, it doesn't always work out that way, but when you can identify a bull run by using the EMA and the VWAP line and seeing how the price is responding to it, it really gives you a good understanding of what's going on. So, again, instead of trying to fight these whales and these people that are actually controlling the market with all their money, we're just the little guys, we're here for the ride, why not get yourself in their shoes and use what they're using? Because they use things like this. They use the EMA, they use the VWAP line, and they identify the good entries and good exits, and that they essentially control the market because they're using more volume and more money. But if you can, kind of jump on their back and kind of ride it out with them and get out before they get out, that's the best way to go. Okay. So anyways, I hope you did find this beneficial. So I guess to summarize, a good entry point at this point is to wait for the price to come above EMA and VWAP line right here, and to essentially close with 2 solid green bars. Honestly, it doesn't seem like it's going to happen. I feel like the price will continue to regress just based on the fact that it moved up so quickly, so fast. But if it does come back down, it'll likely bounce off of the 43-cent support level and continue upwards. So you might want to wait to try to find the bottom. Just make sure when you're finding the bottom, you wait for the price to come above the EMA and the VWAP line and take your entry at that point. And take a smaller position. Don't take the full position, because if you're not at the bottom, you won't lose out. You have good risk tolerance. You're going to essentially be stopped out with a small loss. I prefer to get stopped out with a small loss than a large loss. That's why I take small positions and add to them, because it works better for me. Find what works best for you. Take a small amount of what I'm providing to you here and use that to your advantage, right? So that's the whole point. So if you found benefit, please like and subscribe if you'd like to contribute and offer and show your support. I do have a Patreon account, which is nice too, because it gives you private access to my Discord channel, and that's usually the folks that are making these requests for videos like this. So thank you again to John in my Patreon account that essentially provided this, this resource, this opportunity for me to cover this. So thank you again. Really appreciate your support. I do have a Telegram and a Discord channel as well. Those are both free, no cost for that. Once again, I thank you so much for your time. Hope you have a good rest of your day. We'll see you in the next video. Take care.